How's it guys, Munash here, and today we have an Abyss of Legends Ghost solo with Magneto. So yesterday was a very special day because I finally got access to the CC beta. Surprise surprise, I did get accepted into the content creator program last month, a few weeks ago. Then last week I was having some issues with the beta where I basically didn't have any champs at all. But now that seems to be resolved, and the first thing I did naturally was go into the Abyss, because there were a few fights that I've wanted to try for quite some time, but many of those fights are pretty deep in the Abyss and I didn't want to use a bunch of items just to get to them. So I'm on the CC beta just so I don't have to use my own resources. But I'm still keeping it pretty practical. As you can see, I brought a team that you can actually use to clear Abyss. This is actually a very ideal team for pretty much every path. Maybe you might want to swap someone out just depending on your preferences and how you play. But for the most part, this team can pretty much clear the entire thing. So right now I'm on path 2 because there's a few fights that I want to try Magneto on, such as Green Goblin. And I'm going to try and keep it as cheap as I can, so I'm not going to be using any boosts or suicides. And basically treat it as if it's my first time clearing the path. So there will be a few more Abyss videos coming out this week, because I want to have a pretty good guide or playlist where I have pretty much every fight with a good breakdown or summary or strategy or guide, whatever you want to call it, for each fight all in one place. And also, some of my earliest Abyss gameplay is getting somewhat outdated, because Abyss has been out for over a year now. In fact, I did my first path about 13 months ago, and a lot has changed since then. Most of the fights are pretty much exactly the same, although we have gotten a lot of new champs, a year's worth of new champs and buffs. So the best counter or the best strategy now might not be the same as it was a year ago. I mean, most of the champs are still the best champs, like the 4 horsemen. I don't think that will ever change. But we have gotten a few champs that can make a bit of a difference in terms of how you plan your Abyss paths, such as Magneto, Professor X, even Cosmic Ghost Rider. And these aren't champs that are just good alternatives if you don't have the best counters, but they actually are the best counters for certain fights, such as Killmonger. So I didn't bring CGR, and I still don't have a Professor X, so I'm just going to be focusing mostly on the Magneto fights. With a few other fights that I have done before, like maybe if I have a refined strategy for a certain fight, then maybe I'll upload that as well. Like soloing Mordor with Human Torch, but yeah, it's mostly going to be Magneto. And I haven't mentioned a word about the fight that's playing right now, so let's actually talk about the Ghost fight with Magneto. And it's a pretty standard fight for Magneto, basically the exact same strategy that I've used for my previous Magneto Abyss fights, where basically you want to start by building up to a special 2 with just parry heavy because of the Abyssal ability, being able to steal your power on every 10th hit unless they have an armor break on them, which Magneto will apply with the special 2. And the heavy attack is pretty good for building up to the special 2 because it's only 1 hit, so you can get to it well before you do 10 hits. Then after the armor break, you just want to build to special 3 and use that primarily for damage. You just need to be able to maintain the armor break throughout the fight, which is not too difficult because it does get refreshed with the prowesses. So yeah, you're going to be using parry heavy a lot, as you often do with Magneto. And especially in Abyss where you're trying to maximize damage per hit, the heavy attack is pretty good for that. So Ghost is metal, which means you get that perfect block chance, which means you can parry and then do 2 hits before the heavy attack, or do 1 hit and then hold the heavy attack before the stun expires. Now, one big piece of advice I can give you for this fight is do not try to openly punish your special attacks with your heavy. I know it's very tempting, I mean I did it almost every time I had a chance to, but because you do have class disadvantage, she does have a higher chance to evade, so she can evade the heavy attack and then hit you with a nice big crit. Although if you have a duped Magneto, ideally high sig, then this might not be a very big issue for you, because you won't take that much damage, but if you want to be extra safe, then I recommend not doing it, or at least not doing it when your health is getting low. So this might not be the most fun fight in Abyss, although it is pretty satisfying seeing the special 3 damage with the shrapnel bleeds. And it also might not be the most difficult fight in Abyss, but it is a very comfortable fight and in fact a relatively easy solo with Magneto. The only reason I lost most of my health was because I kept on trying to punish her special attacks with the heavy, and sometimes she would evade and then crit me because the special 1 does give her guaranteed crits. So if you don't want to get hit, then don't use the heavy to punish her special attacks. I just enjoyed doing it so much that I kept on trying until my health got a little bit too low and then I started playing a bit more carefully. So if I was trying to do this fight with minimal health loss, I would only do it when I need to, like say if the armor break is about to expire and there's no other way I can refresh it. But even then, if it does expire, I can always just throw another special 2 and then carry on with the special 3 cycle. You also don't have to worry too much about maximizing your damage per hit in this fight, since Magneto can do it very comfortably in far less than 200 hits. So even a 5-star Magneto can solo this pretty comfortably without boosts or any of the S's. Suicide, Synergy, Sig ability, and I think even a rank 4 5-star can solo this. So yeah, that's the strategy, and that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you guys found it useful. Thank you for watching, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.